Welcome to Locker Room's first edition of Hanging with the Who. Tonight we have Coach Jason Williford. Jay, I'm only going to ask you one tough question, and we're going to save it to the end.
Okay. Thank you.
And you might have an idea what it is.
I got no clue,
Okay,
but thank
well,
you.
you might have an idea, but I'm going to intro that question later on
Okay.
to something you did for me at the Final Four. So we're going to go.
Then I know where this potentially is going. Okay. All right.
We're going to
okay.
say that.
All right.
Anyway, you have been with the program as a player and as a coach more years than anyone else, right? As a player, you played 4 years in 92, 96?
Finished in 95.
95,
Yep.
sorry. And as a coach, you've been on the staff for 11 years.
The
9
entire
as
time.
assistant, and then 2 as the associate coach. Describe your playing days. As a player, how were you as a player?
All right. So I was just okay. All right. But I always like to tell all the guys that I coached that I was one of the freaking best to do it here. But no, I was like a roll guy, glue guy, just kind of blue collar, rebounder, defender, just okay offensively, but very good feel for the game, kind of a coach on the floor. So that was my game.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second
Yeah.
because that glue guy, and while you say you were just okay, that's such an important role that every team needs to be successful.
So listen, I played with Corey Alexander, Junior Burroughs, Harold Dean, some of the greats to do it here. And yeah, everybody can't go get you 15 to 20 a night. You got to have guys that are chemistry guys, and that was my role. Having not played at all as a freshman, and when I say not played at all, you probably heard this. It's kind of the story. I told DeAndre this. This was kind of Dre. You may want a red shirt because you don't want to be like me.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And so, as a freshman or first year, I played 36 total minutes, less than a full game in a 26-game season. Hard as hell. And so after that, I kind of just said, you know what? I just got to do whatever I got to do to get on the floor. And so that was, kind of my role. I found a role. It was defend. It was do whatever I needed to do, but to be out on the floor. And that's kind of how it evolved.
Over the last couple of years, who would you say had a similar role? Or who were you similar to as a player? Would you say Isaiah Wilkins?
Very similar. Now, Isaiah, taller, longer arm, quicker, reactive defensively, blocked way more shots than I ever did, but very similar. Just kind of a leader, a captain. When I needed to put guys in their place, I did that. Kind of the tough guy, but at the time I wasn't, I don't even want to tell my weight now, but at the time I wasn't this weight. But I kind of I was that dude, and I relished in that. I could shoot a little bit better than Zay, but Zay was much better athlete than me, but very similar to Isaiah.
You guys are pretty successful.
95 went to an Elite Eight,
Yeah.
lost to Arkansas in that game to go to the Final Four. Up until recently, I would tell all the teams, you guys got some big shoes to fill. You got to get past what we did. Well, we did that this year. So I would always I'd have that bragging right. And so Ty and those guys kind of, they've been giving it to me.
What a surprise.
No
Watch
doubt,
out.
no doubt.
Watch out, actually.
No
giving it to
doubt,
somebody.
no doubt, no doubt.
Talking trash.
No doubt.
Describe your first couple of years here as a coach and under Bennett. And before that, how did you and Bennett get together?
Crazy story. And I owe it all to Ron Sanchez. So Ron, who's now the head coach at UNC Charlotte, Ron and I knew each other from being assistants and being on the road. I was at American at the time in DC. And so Ron would call and say, hey, Jay, tell me about this kid. We're looking at him. Is he good enough? And so I would kind of give him all the rundown of the Mid-Atlantic kids, being that they were Washington State. And we just, developed a relationship on over the years. So there was rumor that Tubby Smith was getting the job, right? And I'm trying to figure out how the hell do I get to Tubby? Like you know how it is. Let me network and Tubby, I want to get on your staff. Didn't know Tony from Adam. Tony Bennett's name gets brought up, and not only did it get brought up, it was like the next day they're bringing in Tony for, like, it's his job. They're bringing him in for the interview, you know, to do the press conference. I'm like, Tony Bennett, like, who do I know? Like, how do I get to Tony? I'm like, oh, Ron's on the staff. So I text Ron and I say to him, hey man, any chance you can get me in front of Tony, I'd love to come back home. That's my alma mater, blah, blah, blah. And Ron texts me back, man, I didn't know that you played there. And I'm like, we must have never even talked about that. And he was like, stay patient, I'll get back to you. Don't come to the press conference. And I'm like, what do you mean don't come? Like, everything told me, drive to DC, be there, get in front of Tony. And Ron's like, don't come to the press conference. It's crazy down here. He's got a lot of guys. He's not like that. And so, I'm watching the press conference on my computer in DC. I'm going to Jeff Jones, who's the coach at American, who coached me here. And I'm saying, JJ, I need to get down there. He's like, what did he tell you? Like, just trust what they told you. Right. And I'm like, all right, he says don't come. All right, he said then don't go. Listen. And so I listened. And it was crazy. I get a call. Tony's like, I want you to interview with Richie.
How much later was that?
Maybe a week. So the Final Four is in Detroit. I want you to interview with Richie McKay, who's going to be the associate head coach. Talk to him in Detroit. Then we'll go from there. So I talk. Richie gives me the okay. They bring me in for an interview in front of Tony. He said, I just want to tell you this. He said, the fact that you didn't come down and you listened went a long way with me. And I'm like, wow. So it also helped that I was an alum. I played here and I had ties. But that and Ron saying, like, Ron putting me in touch kind of is how I got here. And I'm thankful and grateful for the opportunity to come back every single day. So I owe it to Ron. It's a crazy story.
That's my buddy.
Yeah.
The staff here is remarkable. I just know our process and going around different schools and being recruited by different schools. And I think one of the reasons why we selected Virginia, why Ty selected Virginia, the culture, the feeling that when we first walked through the door was remarkable, right? It was so welcoming and so genuine. It felt so comfortable. And I was having this conversation with somebody yesterday and just saying, when you leave your kids somewhere for what you assume to be 4 years, you want to make sure they're in the best hands.
No doubt.
Make sure someone's going to help develop your child on the court and off. And you may or may not remember, on the unofficial visit, the first person we met was you in front of JPJ. We walk into the JPJ, and we walk into the gym, the arena, and I'm speechless.
And the music's on, the lights are on.
I'm speechless.
And
we go sit down.
And I'm pretty sure I point out across the street to you, hey, U-Haul, that was the house that I played in.
Yeah.
That was probably the first thing out of my mouth.
To be honest, I can't remember that. But I just remember walking through there, and I'm going, and I was speechless. I couldn't even say, you're going here. You don't have a choice, because when he first got recruited by Princeton as a freshman, I was telling him, you're going here. And then I wanted really good schools for him, Stanford, Princeton, Ivy League.
Right.
And you going to UVA. And then you show us the video from the 2014-2015 team that won the ACC championship, and it was just mind blowing. It was incredible. But it was also just genuine, and we felt so comfortable. And on the ride home, it was like an easy decision to say, "You're going here." And I don't know when that started as for you guys, where you started building that culture. Was it immediate? Was it over time? Was there a little bit of a process, and some of the kids you had either inherited or that you had to that you had to convince, like, this is the way how we're going to do it?
No, it was that.
By the way, cheers.
Thank you, brother. To the Wahoos.
Absolutely. And all the coaches there.
That culture, that groundwork was laid from day one. We inherited some guys that were good. We inherited some guys that weren't always 2 feet in. And, for whatever reasons they left. But the guys that stuck around, that stayed and wanted to be a part of this, they quickly bought in to those pillars. And you know what they are, our 5 pillars. And we had to lay that foundation. And it was hard. We had to recruit guys that were about that. But I knew after meeting Tony, after being around Richie, being around Ron, it was only a matter of time before this thing took off. In my wildest dreams, I'm not sure I imagined us doing what we did. Absolutely we aspired to that. But the foundation of laying those pillars, of doing it the right way, recruiting high character kids, that was from day one. And so we just built upon the John Tell Evans, who we inherited, who bought in, Mustafa Farrakhan's, the Will Sherrills, the Mike Scotts, the Jerome Mayencies, all of those guys that were here either when we got here or we convinced to stay in John Tell's case. And then you go from Joe and Akil, on to present. It was about getting guys that wanted to be coached, be pushed academically because of where we are, and kind of just doing it the right way, and character. Good basketball players, but high character.
Right.
And Tony's, as like what you witnessed, what you kind of felt that first visit, Tony's is genuine, and kind of what you see is what you get. And he's gonna push you. He's a competitive son of a gun, but he's genuine, and that just comes across. And so that was easy for me to be a part of, because that's me. I'm just kind of what you see is what you get from me. Yeah.
I haven't met one coach where you're like, I don't know about him. He doesn't fit there.
And Tony did a remarkable job. He's put people in place, Orlando and now Brad. Obviously, he knew Brad from his dad's time and in that relationship. He trusted me with Orlando. He's got guys that he can lose with. Not just players, but coaches that got his back. So if you can lose with these guys, then when it's going good, then I know I'm in good hands. But if I can lose with coaches, if I can lose with players, and I can go through adversity, when the time's right, we're gonna reap the benefit of that. And this year, we did it. I still can't believe it, but we did it.
Every once in a while, one of my friends will call me up and say, UVA won the national championship.
Hey, so listen, I'm gonna just show you what's on my phone. That's my screensaver. I ain't ever forgetting that.
You can't.
No.
How many people won a national championship?
Players,
coaches.
That's a great reminder.
Let me say it again, please.
That ain't bad.
Yeah, I hit it one time. Oh, here we go. What is your favorite part about coaching, and what's your least favorite part about coaching?
My favorite is the guys, the camaraderie, being on the floor, traveling, competing. I think that's why a lot of coaches get into it. Mm-hmm. Giving back to those guys, helping them, wanting to see them reach their full potential. I've been a part of a team since I was freaking 8 years old. And so kind of that's my mentality. I like being a part of something bigger than me and helping those kids reach the pinnacle. But just being around them all the time, the on-floor stuff is the best part. The hard part is some of the BS that goes on with the recruiting, and our game is kind of taking a hit because of some of that, obviously, and that's the most difficult part. And so, just trying to weed through all of that minutia, all of that nonsense.
People, interesting you bring that up, because people ask me about recruiting and why Ty went there and what other kids, and you asked me about UVA, and I explained UVA is one of a few programs that truly does it right. There's nothing going on at UVA that's not ethical, right? That I'm aware of, and I can't imagine just knowing people, knowing my child.
No,
there's in other schools I'm aware of it. I know coaches, I know kids who've been offered, I know whatever they've been offered. And that makes it even more incredible. The story, right? That it's done the right way and so ethical, and the staff is so ethical. The kids are ethical, and that's part of the culture.
Listen, I pray that the stories I hear aren't true, and you hear them all the time. But where there's smoke, there's fire, obviously. So I'm not here to throw shade at anybody, but after going what we went through against UMBC, and then knowing that we're gonna do it the right way. Tony wouldn't have it any other way. Carla wouldn't have it any other way. The university wouldn't. I mean, this is what Virginia's about. Was the most gratifying feeling in the world to be able to do it that way. Right. And again, it's just who we are.
How do you compete with the other teams that are offering?
Now you're saying offering. I don't know.
Okay, potentially offering. Potentially. Or rumored to be offering. How do you compete with schools that might be that are potentially offering some kid who's like,
listen,
I like the fact I'm getting recruited, and you know what?
But you've seen, you know the program. You've seen who we've gotten. I mean, we're recruiting guys that we quite honestly that we can develop, that are going to be here. Obviously Ty left in 3, but that are going to be here 3-4 years, and we kind of get them to their junior year, senior years, where we can compete with the some of the McDonald's kids. And listen, by no means do I think everybody's doing something.
Right, no question. Right. I agree.
But I think we're just going to do what the blueprint is. What it is.
You go into a living room.
We're going to recruit character, high academics, and
what do you tell a kid? You go into a living room where, and I'm not suggesting these are the teams that are doing anything unethical. I'm just saying the top teams, right? And people want to play on the top teams. People want to play.
The Blue Bloods.
wants to be on TV,
the Blue
right?
Bloods.
You got Duke, Kentucky, Arizona, Carolina, the Blue Bloods, right?
Yep.
You go into a living room and you see, and you're going up against those guys.
Yep.
How do you convince somebody to go to UVA? And I mean, I'm not sure all those kids who are at that level or getting recruited by those schools and UVA are selecting UVA, which is also incredible. Another incredible fact that UVA was able to win this year. I'm
not sure we're going to beat those programs, and we want guys that want to go up against and beat the best. And listen, Carolina and Duke have been a thorn in our side since I was in school, and we haven't beaten those dudes for many kids. I don't think many schools have beaten them. And I just think, look, Tony always talks about, I want guys that are like Rocky, that just want a shot at a title fight. And that's what we want, guys with chips on their shoulders and blue collar, and kind of just, hey, I want to go against the big boys. And so that's kind of what we target in the process. That's our recruiting.
Last year you guys lose first round. I'm asking.
You got to remind me of that? It's okay now, though.
Not bad, right? You'll
No,
take it.
it's okay now. Hey, listen,
How things worked out.
if I got to lose to a 16 and the following year go win it, I'd like to do that every other year. That'd be pretty cool.
That wouldn't be bad.
Wouldn't be bad.
What did you say to the kid? What was your message to the players?
I don't know, because I was the one going nuts at halftime.
I heard.
And Tony's message was awesome. And I really appreciated him when he sent Kyle and Ty to the podium instead of Devin and Isaiah. I thought that showed who he was. But he sent them there for a reason. And that was, you guys are coming back. You guys are kind of who the program, you're the face now. And we're going to learn and we're going to move on from this and we're going to grow and we're going to be okay. So that was Tony's message. And I whispered to each guy in the locker room. I gave him a hug. Hey, it's going to be okay. And to the returning guys, we got work to do. Let's grow. Let's learn. And that was kind of my message. And that was the message that I think they all took, but they had a chip. They came back and they were on a mission. You probably know more than we do, but they were on a mission. I mean, I'm pretty sure Ty's told you.
Yeah, and you know, I saw changes in him where he really changed his diet even more than he had the previous year.
They all got serious. They worked. That summer was Coach Curtis was instrumental in that, and those guys were in the gym and they put the hours in, and you could see it. Yeah. They were on a mission.
I remember watching them coming over Labor Day weekend of 2018 and watching Dre and Ty just work and work in the gym right before a football game. They were on a Saturday morning.
Listen, I'm shocked that they even went to the football game and just didn't stay in the gym.
I think I asked them to come with me. How many? Okay, I'm going to go to my last two questions. Yeah, go ahead. So, here's the end of the interview. Where I say, I'm grateful on one hand, and I'm going to ask you
you're gonna get me in trouble.
No, I'm not.
Go ahead.
Who am I going to get you in trouble with? Who do you think I'm talking? What questions
Go ahead.
I'm going to ask you?
Go ahead. By the way, these shrimp are really good.
I'm glad to hear that.
Good call.
Thank you, the local. I'm so grateful to you because you know I'm a passionate fan.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
We had some conversations throughout the season.
Yeah.
You kept me calm.
I kept you calm and I told you, trust me.
You did.
Right?
At one point, your wife told you trust you too. Trust in Bahamas.
Yeah.
Which was a great opening tournament victory. At the end of the championship game, we're in the front row, Ty's mom and I, and you point to the security guards and you're like, let them on the court. Let them on the court. And so, you know, that's my thing. I'm so passionate about this college basketball thing, and I just...
You were in heaven.
I was in heaven. I didn't leave the court.
Can I get some money for that, now that Ty's eligibility is gone?
How much you make a year? Do you need my money? I'm so great, because I really did not leave the court until, I think, 1 o'clock in the morning. Everybody left.
Wow.
Everybody
and you're still out there?
I was back at the hotel doing interviews. I mean, I think on the court doing interviews, grabbing the rim, talking to whoever I could talk to.
You were in heaven.
I remember taking Ty to Final Four games when he and Kobe when they were young, and just imagine, like, if I was a parent, I would never leave the court. I would soak this all up. Seriously, I can't thank you enough for that.
You got me in trouble.
We were the only ones on the court.
Yeah, you got me in trouble, by the way.
We were doing interviews, his mom and I. Who did I get you in trouble with?
Some NCAA guys were like, who are they? I said, come on, just deal with me. Let's go. I was so excited.
I know you were.
Yeah.
I got a call the day before asking me if I wanted credentials to get on the court. And I was on another call, and I said, hold on a second. When I clicked back, the dude was gone. I was like, who was that?
It was meant to be.
So
it was divine intervention.
Whatever it was, you got me on the call. I might give you a little cash for that. Very little, because I don't have much.
Okay. All right.
So the tough question is, you have any idea yet?
No. Go ahead.
we have to show this if we don't want to.
Go ahead. You can edit.
There's no
this.
secret that you didn't think my child was good enough to play UVA. And I've been wanting to ask you this question for 3 years. 3 years I've been waiting for the question. Because I had a college I had a coach that I know, one of my homeboys who coaches at a college.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, he just kind of let go.
Now I've said this.
He said, you know, Jay Willie doesn't think your kid can play at UVA. But you weren't the only one. There was a lot.
No, I've said this. No, I've said this publicly. The question wasn't offensively. It was a defensive question. And that's honest.
I'm not mad at anybody.
All right. But I love him. Because he proved me wrong and he proved I'll tell you this story. So I'll tell you how this went down. We're in a recruiting meeting. Tony may not even remember this. We're in a recruiting meeting and we're talking Ty and I say, Tone, I like the kid's IQ, his feel, he shoots it, big guard. I don't know if he can guard in the ACC. Tony looked at, he's never done this to this day. He's never done it. He looked over at me and he said, enough. He said, that kid is a baller. I know what I see, we're taking him. Now, if you know Tony, the fact that he was like, he made a decision, like he was like, this is what we're doing. If you know Tony, you know that's like not always, he's always contemplating, like, should we do this, should we do this? No, he was like, no, enough. So I said, you know what, Coach? I've never seen you that way about a kid ever. I'm with you, let's go. And that was it. And we offered, he said, I want him, and you guys took it, and the rest is history. But I'll never forget that meeting. He looked right at me, he's like, enough. I know what I see.
You know what? And when he gets serious about
no doubt.
There's some fear.
No, but he was adamant that, like, I've seen enough. I know what he can do. Whatever deficiencies he may have, we'll work with that. And our system was great for him. So, yeah.
Yeah, not bad. Not a bad.
That was a great. I'll never forget that meeting. I'll never forget that.
All turned out okay.
It worked out. It worked out.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Because there's always question marks with everybody, right?
Hey, there's always.
Dre was redshirted. Ty with the question marks. Kyle, the question mark.
Yeah, but there's always, you know, are they quick enough, athletic enough? Can they, you know, can they handle the size? And yeah, there's always that.
You're not the only one. I think most people had that same question. Anyway, cheers.
Hodge Turner didn't. He loved him. That's my boy. Charlottesville guy.
Although he stopped following me on Twitter, I think.
After that? Yeah, that's all right. That's my guy, though.
I like him.
He's a Charlottesville guy. His dad, yep, exactly right. Dean Turner, yep.
Great family. And Tyreek is a good dude who lives in New York with St. John.
Hodge believed in him, and he's now the high school coach in Maryland. He's at the Landon School in Maryland.
Good. Well, I hope he gets another shot.
Yeah. Good guy. Good guy.
Good guy. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Hanging with the Who.
No doubt.
My man Jay Willie.
No doubt.
Always.
Over wine.
That's how we started.
All right. That is exactly right. We did.
Thank you to the local. Great food. Incredible ambiance. And great company.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
We good?